You know what's strange? We call it having a favorite song, but sometimes that doesn't even come close. Sometimes it's a room you keep walking back into, a 3-minute emotional climate you can control when life feels too unpredictable. You don't just listen to it, you loop it again and again until the chorus feels like furniture in your mind. People joke, "Aren't you tired of that yet?" But you're not. Stay with me because what I'm about to tell you will completely change how you see the people who listen to the same song on repeat. You've done it before. Maybe it's midnight, your room is dim, and the blue glow from your phone is the only light on the ceiling. Maybe you're walking home with one earbud slightly loose, streetlights sliding across parked cars, and that same opening note hits again. Or maybe you're in the shower, steam on the mirror, replay button already pressed because you need that exact bridge one more time. Not a similar song, not the artist's full album. That song, the one that knows the shape of your mood before you do. You tell yourself it's just catchy, but deep down you know there's something more specific happening. You're not chasing sound, you're chasing a state, a memory, a version of yourself. Psychologists call one piece of this the mere exposure effect. In 1968, social psychologist Robert Zionk showed that repeated exposure to something can make us like it more, even when nothing about the thing itself changes. Basically, your brain starts mistaking familiarity for safety. The song becomes predictable, and predictability feels good. It's like walking into a cafe where the barista already knows your order. Nothing dramatic happens, but your nervous system relaxes because the world has one less surprise in it. This is why you can play the same track 20 times and still enjoy it. Your brain isn't bored, it's settling in. Every beat becomes a handrail, every lyric becomes a landmark. You know when the drums come in, you know the tiny breath before the chorus, and because you know it, you can surrender to it. For a few minutes, life doesn't ask you to adapt. But here's where it gets interesting. Repetition doesn't just comfort you, it lets you predict pleasure. Neuroscientist Valerie Salempour and colleagues published a 2011 study in Nature Neuroscience showing that intensely pleasurable music can trigger dopamine activity in the brain, especially around moments of anticipation and release. In simple terms, your brain doesn't only reward the chorus, it rewards knowing the chorus is coming. That's the magic of replay. The first time you hear a song, it surprises you. The 10th time, you're mentally leaning forward before your favorite part arrives. It's like watching a movie scene you love, not because you don't know what happens, but because you know exactly what happens. And somehow, that makes it hit harder. This is called anticipatory pleasure. Your brain gets a reward from the almost. The build-up, the pause, the note that hasn't landed yet. That's why you might restart a song just to experience one 30-second section again. You're not being obsessive in some shallow way. You're returning to a reliable pleasure circuit, one where tension and release are guaranteed. Another piece is emotional regulation, which is a fancy way of saying you use music to manage what's happening inside you. Researchers Suvi Saracalio and Jaco Erkila published a 2007 study in Psychology of Music identifying several ways people use music to regulate mood, including comfort, revival, diversion, and emotional discharge. Translation: music isn't just background noise. For a lot of people, it's self-care before they have language for self-care. So when you replay the same sad song after a breakup, it's not because you want to suffer forever. It may be because the song gives your sadness a container. Without it, the feeling is everywhere. With it, the feeling has a beginning, a chorus, a bridge, and an ending. It says you can feel this and it won't swallow you whole. This explains something people misunderstand. Listening to a sad song on repeat doesn't always make you sadder. Sometimes it makes you feel less alone. Research by Leila Taroufi and Stefan Kolsch, published in PLOS 1 in 2014, found that people often experience sad music as pleasurable because it can evoke nostalgia, peacefulness, tenderness, and emotional release. Wild, right? Then there's identity. The song on repeat can become what psychologists call autobiographical memory cueing. That means it acts like a key that unlocks personal memories. Music psychologist Petr Janata published work in cerebral cortex in 2009 showing that music strongly activates brain regions connected to autobiographical memory and emotion. This is why one song can throw you backward in time faster than a photograph. You hear the intro, and suddenly you're not in your room anymore. You're 16 in the back seat of someone's car. You're walking through a city you don't live in now. You're remembering a person you don't talk to anymore, or a version of you that felt more hopeful, more wounded, more alive. The song becomes a time machine, but not a clean one. It lets you rehearse your relationship to the past. This is why the same song can mean different things depending on the season of your life. At first, it's about them. Later, it's about surviving them. Eventually, it becomes about you. Notice the pronoun switch. Your brain is updating the emotional meaning every time you return to it. You're not stuck in the memory. You may actually be metabolizing it. Now, before the comment section explodes, yes, sometimes the repeat button has a darker layer. For some people, this isn't peace. It's hiding. It's not emotional regulation, it's emotional avoidance. There's a difference between returning to a song because it helps you process something and returning to it because it keeps you locked inside a feeling you're afraid to leave. The healthy version feels like being held. The trauma version can feel like being trapped. In the healthy version, the song gives your nervous system rhythm and release. In the painful version, it becomes a loop that keeps reopening the wound because the wound is the only place that still feels connected to someone. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes we repeat songs because we don't know how to repeat conversations. We can't call the person. We can't go back to the moment. We can't ask life to explain why something changed. So we replay the song that was there when it happened. It becomes a substitute for closure. Not because you're weak, because the brain will use whatever symbol it can find when the real thing is unavailable. But that doesn't mean you're broken. You're not weird for needing the same song more than once. You're not dramatic because 3 chords can rearrange your whole mood. You're not stuck just because you revisit the same emotional landscape. You're wired for depth over noise. Some people skim life, you absorb it. Some people need novelty to feel alive. You sometimes need repetition to feel safe enough to feel alive. That's different. There's emotional intelligence in knowing which sound helps you access what you can't say directly. You're not too intense. You're someone whose nervous system remembers through rhythm. You're not obsessed with a song. You're building a private ritual around a feeling that matters. Maybe it's not escape. Maybe for 3 minutes and 42 seconds, reality finally becomes organized enough to touch. Here's the thing nobody tells you. A repeated song is rarely just a repeated song. It's a mood regulator, a memory archive, a dopamine loop, a safe room, a mirror. Sometimes it's even a tiny emotional home you can carry in your pocket. And maybe that's why we return to certain songs long after they should have expired. Not because we failed to move on, but because something inside us still recognizes the doorway. The world keeps changing its language. The song doesn't. It waits exactly where you left it. If this hit home, subscribe to the Psyche Code, and if you want to support these deep dives, hit the join button. If this resonated, you'll probably love the next one, The Psychology of People Who Romanticize the Past. Click to find out why nostalgia can feel safer than the present.